Hello and welcome to this taste challenge. I have two triple distilled, 40% alcohol Irish blended whiskeys. That's what we're doing now, Irish blended whiskey. And I have the world famous Bushmills. It says 1608. Yes, there was a license given by the king's government in 1608 to distill whiskey at that location. But actually, the Bushmills brand did not come out till 1786, much later. Still a long time ago, 1786, over 200 years ago. But anyway, finest blended, of course, every whiskey claims to be the finest, no matter how cheap it is. Triple distilled, it's a blend of copper pot still single malt whiskey and grain whiskeys, probably 80% grain whiskeys, which are like from corn, maize, if you live in Europe, odorless, colorless, flavorless, and they age those for three years or longer. And then the flavor comes from the single malt whiskeys, the malted barley whiskey, which can be aged for many years. It has to be at least three. So this is Bushmills. It's bottled. It's produced, not just bottled, but it's produced in Northern Ireland, which is still a British province. Northern Ireland, up there on the north coast, right at the top. Would you call it the top of Northern Ireland? All right, now this is proper number 12. And this was introduced in 2018, so it's a newer product. Used to be celebrity endorsed, but that ended last year. A blend. Yes, it is a blend of the same thing. Probably about 80% grain spirits aged for at least 3 years in oak barrels, and single malt whiskeys aged also at least 3 years. It says aged 4 years in bourbon barrels. So these whiskeys are aged at least 4 years in bourbon barrels, and it's from Ireland, not Northern Ireland. You say, well, it's all the same island. That's true. But Ireland is an independent country with their own president, and Northern Ireland is a British province with a king, who is King Charles III, King of England, Wales, Scotland, Northern Ireland, the Isle of Man, the Channel Islands, Jersey, Guernsey, Sark, Canada, New Zealand, Australia, the Bahamas, and so forth. Okay, so proper number 12. I paid the full price. I didn't get any kind of great deal on it. So it's like, yeah, like 20. I think it was $26.99, if I'm not mistaken. It's got a little dust on it, and I've been keeping my bottles dusted. But let me go rinse that off. It's got a real cork, not a screw cap. Now, these are both under the same parent company, Proximo Spirits, which is the umbrella company for Jose Cuervo. It's the family that owns Jose Cuervo, but they don't call it Jose Cuervo Liquor Company. They call it Proximo Spirits. So these are both family owned, but I think the family lives in Mexico. The Beckel family, Beckel, which goes back to Jose Cuervo in 1795. But if the daughter inherits the company and she marries a guy named Beckel, then it's the Beckel situation. Okay. Bushmills, no, I didn't get any deal on that one either. I paid the full price, which at the time of purchase was like, I think it was $22.99. True story. I believe it was $22.99. It's got an embossed glass bottle. All right. It's got the square bottle. They say they do that because they can put more in a box. You know what I mean? They're all squared off so they can fit more. This is rounded. Green bottle protects it more from the light. A clear bottle will not protect it from the light. So you do have to look at that. It's also embossed. Smooth is fast. Smooth is fast. Okay. All right. Whatever that means. Okay. Alex says, cheers, Jay. Good afternoon. Butch Willie says, sir, my warmest regards. Same to you, Butch. My hair is kind of wild right now. I washed it. It's clean. Hi, Ronald. So Fandango Friday until after April. Hector says, yeah, we're probably not going to do any Fandango Friday until after Easter, April 20th, because it's just too difficult. They need help at the fish fries on Friday night. And I'm not going to tell them, oh, no, I can't help you because I got to taste liquor. I don't think that would be a very good thing to say. And we raise a lot of money, but the money is not for us. It's a charitable organization. We give money to people who are going to college or seminary or things like that. So, I mean, people who are disabled and things like that. So it's not us. We don't keep the money. Obviously, we got to pay electrical bills, gas bill, property tax, things like that. But after all the expenses, then the money goes to charity. Okay. So they're both, well, they're very similar in appearance. Let's call it amber gold. Amber gold. Yes. The fish fry is not at a church. It's at the Knights of Columbus Hall, which is affiliated with the church because you have to be Catholic to join the Knights of Columbus. It's a Catholic organization, you know, non-main, established in the 1880s. And there's chapters all over the world: Philippines, Mexico, Ukraine, Poland, France, the United States, where it started, Mexico, Canada. That's 8 countries. I think that's it. England has their own Catholic Knights organization. It's called something else. The Knights of Columbus is not the only one. But they, you know, they collaborate. Yeah, it is interesting. They collaborate and work together in many cases. And they probably do fish fries on Friday in England. Whatever that or I think it's like the Knights of St. Albans or something. I honestly I don't know what it's called, but it's easy to find their website. Okay, I'll do a screen share, show you the websites for the products. Here's Bushmills Original Blended Whiskey. They sell it. You can buy it for $31.99, which because you can get it at the grocery store. Well, in Louisiana, grocery stores sell liquor for probably $24.99 or less. With a rate that dates back before Prohibition, there is no better whiskey for making a classic pre-Prohibition cocktail. Bushmills Original. Oh, really? Combining our pure single malt whiskey and a lighter grain whiskey, its rich, smooth, warming taste almost instantly, just as generations have done before. Well, you know, that's all marketing hype, but it is very good. I'll admit, smooth and versatile. Bushmills Original greets the senses with light fruit and warm spice, unfolding into velvet, honeyed sweetness, and a crisp, refreshing finish. Well, yeah, I don't know if it's as elaborate as that. It did win a double gold last year in San Francisco. San Francisco World Spirits Competition. Double gold means not only was it considered most excellent, it got gold, meaning it was the best in its class, which would be Irish blended whiskey. So to get a double gold. And these are blind taste tests like I'm doing tonight at the San Francisco World Spirits Competition. They don't know what they're tasting. They know, obviously, they know it's an Irish blended whiskey. And they know, I mean, they probably have a good idea of what the big Irish blended whiskeys are. It's probably not a mystery, but there could be some like smaller ones that you never heard of coming into the competition. So yeah, but it did win double gold. And then you can take a tour at Bushmills Distillery, which I would love to do. I did not take any distillery tours when I went to Europe because they didn't have any where I was located, where I went. They didn't have any distilleries in Gibraltar or Spain. Well, obviously they do have them in Spain, but not in the areas of Spain that I visited, not south, the very far south of Spain, like the very bottom of Spain. I tried, but I didn't see any. And then in Africa, I went to one of the African territories called Ceuta, but they had a diesel refinery where they make diesel. I guess they was there. I didn't ask. Okay, they probably would have told me, Moose, get out of here, you nut. I wasn't interested in seeing how they produce diesel anyway. We've got those refineries close to me. But there's proper number 12, introduced 7 years ago. Very popular. They probably changed the story. Yeah. They're not showing the the celebrity anymore. They mill it, then they ferment the grain into like a beer. And then they distill the beer. They distill the beer. Then they mature it. They let it age in ex-bourbon barrels on apples. And then they blend the different whiskeys together, the single malt and the grain whiskey master blenders that do that. And then they bottle it and send it to you or me. Do you guys do crawfish boils there? No, although that's not a bad idea, actually. It probably would sell. I don't know, though. A lot of people do crawfish boils on like Saturday at their homes. So I don't know. They want the fried fish. Frying fish and shrimp is much more difficult, and you got the grease everywhere and stuff. And we also boil shrimp starting this year, boil the Louisiana. We only sell Louisiana shrimp and fish, catfish. And then they made a cold pasta salad, which I ate one and it was great. Interesting. We have our fish fry in the church hall meeting room, says Tom. Well, everybody can do it their way, of course. You guys must have your own Knights of Columbus hall. Right. Some councils operate out of the church building. And now many these days are operating out of that church building. And some of the older councils still have their own hall. Many of them have sold the hall because it's a big liability and a burden, But we rent the hall for a lot of events like craft shows and stuff like that. So it seems to bring in money, so they don't want to get rid of it. And that hall was opened in 1980, and I think they had an older hall before 1980 up the highway. I wasn't dealing with it back then. Broly Sullivan says, "You." Hey, cheers back to you. Okay, so anyway, time to roll. So I don't have to close my eyes because the appearance isn't going to matter. They're both amber gold. And they're both from the same parent company. Now, the difference. Bushmills Distillery is in Northern Ireland, and that's directly owned by Proximo Spirits. Cuervo company, Jose Cuervo. Now, this one is made in Ireland, and I don't think Proximo Spirits owns any distilleries in the Irish Republic. the independent part. So I think this is contract distilled, and most likely from the big one, Middleton Distillery. They make a product called Jameson. You might have heard of Jameson. like nobody never heard of that, you know. But and then they ship it up. They ship the whiskeys up to Northern Ireland, and they blend them there and bottle them. Probably after aging. I can't say that for sure because we don't know, but it's pretty likely. But it could be from Kilbeggan Distillery. It could be from Tullamore Distillery, but I just think it's probably from the big one. The Massachusetts has a Knights of Columbus Hall in every town here, says Playtime. Oh, really? Every Massachusetts town has a Knights of Columbus Hall? They have bingo too, right? Bingo. We have ours on Tuesday night. I used to work at it on Friday nights because I would off on the weekends, but now they want to do it on Tuesday. I said, I ain't staying up late like that. I got to go to work the next day. I can't go to, I don't want to go to work feeling exhausted. But that was the whole question that Hector had. And I said, yeah, I've been working at the Fish Fries. And if I'm not there, I'm at, sometimes I'll be at college baseball games. But then after Easter, we'll get back to, after Easter Sunday, we'll get back to the Fandango Friday. Honey. Well, yes, it does smell a little bit like honey, and there's no honey in it. It doesn't contain honey of any sort. It's kind of like the malt, the malted barley. Sometimes it'll take on like a honey aroma and flavor. Does that with beer too. Beer and whiskey are related because they both come from fermented grain. So there's a definite relationship. So that smells very nice. Don't know which it is, but the proper 12, if you look on the website like we just did, it really emphasizes honey. Honey, 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 honey. Now this one's a lot more flatter. It's a lot flatter in the aroma. Like, well, if you want to say dull, that you could use that terminology. It's not a whole lot of action happening here. Is there anything off or off-putting about it? No, not at all. It's just maybe a little dull. I like these live reviews, midday or late day. These work great, says Tom. Oh, thank you. I'm doing it early because there's a big women's basketball game coming up at the top of the hour. Louisiana State University, and everybody was talking about it at work. I'm gonna watch the game. So that's actually the reason. Okay. Oh, look at the beautiful blooms everywhere. The trees blooming, the bushes blooming. Springtime. Cheers to spring. All right, taste time. Cheers to that. Honey. Pale malt. Pale grains. Pale. Of course, malted barley is a grain. I mean, it is a grain whiskey. If you have a single malt whiskey, now some people say, I drink single malt whiskey. It's still a grain because barley malt is a grain, malted barley, but they use copper pot still distillation as opposed to column still. Column still is those tall columns. They continuously distill. It goes on 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And they produce more like a vodka-like substance. Well, actually, it could be vodka if you never let it come in contact with wood. You just kept distilling it. You take the distillate and you distill it again and distill it again, distill it again. You get just like purified grain spirit. And some of the cheap vodkas be distilled like 4 times. The expensive ones, the better ones be distilled like 10 times. And then they charcoal filter. They drip it through charcoal. And it might take days for that each drop to drip through that compacted charcoal. But they don't age vodka. They just bottle it. Of course, they filter it like I just described. But But with whiskey, they take the same substance and they age it in, like in this case, ex-bourbon barrels. It might have been Jack Daniel's bourbon, like for instance, Tennessee whiskey, which is a type of bourbon, and they don't throw those barrels away. They ship them to Ireland and they use them for years. Um, do they have to use ex-bourbon barrels? Absolutely not. They can use brand new charred oak barrels, just like a bourbon. But typically, they don't do that over there because I don't know if the people would find that flavor appealing. You know, that could cause controversy, as they say. But there's certainly no law against it. Momentum says, "What's up, man? Drinking Coors Light now. Sound like a good thing to do. I drank a Outlaw Mile High light beer after work, and I drank State of Brewing peanut butter chocolate peanut butter porter. It was pretty good, not great, but good. Chocolate tastes like chocolate, peanut butter, and hazelnut, just like the label says. And I got the deal of the century at Aldi. So what the heck? Believe me, the deal of the century. I guarantee you, you haven't seen a 6-pack price this low in your life. I haven't till last week. Nice. I work at a country club, and you're off the next few days, just chilling. Oh, great. I won't be off the next few days, but I'll be off and on, you know. All right. So this one, although the aroma wasn't very elaborate, there is a rich flavor and there's a honey note in the flavor. They're both medium bodied and they both finish dry, or if you say crisp, not sweet. I mean, these are great. Some people might look down on them and say, "Oh no, I would never drink something so common. I'm so elaborate. I am an exceptional person. I don't lower myself to drink common whiskey." Well, that's fine. You can drink $200 or $300 bottles, and I'm not jealous of that, and I don't take issue with that. But that's not what we're dealing with at this time. We're dealing with $20 something bottles, 20 something dollar bottles. No knock against the $200 or $300 bottles, just not what the channel's dealing with at this time. Maybe in the future. I bought a bottle of Ballantine's Finest, says KS, and didn't care for the taste. Really, I love that flavor. Too much butterscotch. Oh, yes. However, as the weeks passed, I noticed the flavor mellowed out and I enjoyed it much more. Like I've talked about on this channel, letting it breathe, right? Letting it breathe. Proper 12, isn't that? Yes. I like the whiskey, but, well, he got fired from his own company. Well, the company he contracted with, because they said, no, he gets in too much trouble and it doesn't look good on the brand. And they just said, you sold it to us, so we're finished with you. And he got his $600 million for selling it. So we're not even going to mention that anymore because it's not related to any celebrities anymore. Yeah, you stopped being a fan of him. I think a lot of people did. I never was because I'm not interested in that sport. But yeah, I think his peak days are over. It's on the down slope, you know. But anyway, that's not our problem right now. Or ever. Rich honey, little bitterness. Now you will find some bitterness with these whiskeys. It sounds bizarre, but you know, like a bite. You know what I'm saying? Bitterness or a bite to it. A little sharp edge there, medium bite. But I think with the profound honey approach or presence, that it must be the proper number 12. What I like about whiskey is the burning sensation goes down, then the warm body buzz. Well, I don't drink enough of it to go through those stages too much, you know, but I know what you're talking about, but I'm just kind of like tasting them right now. You know, I'm not really doing the experience and getting crazy, you know. I've always enjoyed Bushmills, says David Simmons. Cheers, Ronald. Cheers to you. All right. This is very mild. Little sharpness too. Have I tried any single malt Irish whiskeys? No, not yet. But I've been looking at for 10 years, almost 10 years. I've been looking at you know that when it comes in like an octagonal bottle or hexagonal, it's got like 6 sides to it. It's kind of, you see that everywhere. And I think Bushmills owns it. I was going to buy it one time. I almost bought it. And I was like, no, I'll wait. And it used to be like $24. But there's so many regular blended ones I've been trying to find. And people keep telling me, try this, try that, try this, try it. And I want to try all of those. But I'm not against that single malt. Of course, I'm not against it at all. But I got a Trader Joe's Irish Special. It's called Trader Joe's Irish Special Blended Whiskey. I got to do that one. It's like I keep getting more, and it just keeps growing. Can't believe out of all the beers I'm drinking, Coors Light, oh well, still gets the job done. Well, I don't know why you can't believe that. I mean, Coors Light's been on the market since 1978. A lot of people like it. It's a very popular beer. It actually was introduced in 1941. A true story. It was introduced in 1941, which might have changed everything, a light beer. But they had the Pearl Harbor attack, and then the United States was full-fledged into World War II. So they were like, nah, let's just cut it for now. Well, let's just forget it. We can't market it right now. It's too much. It just came out. So maybe a few people got some cans and bottles of it. So there was no Coors Light until they brought it back 37 years later. I don't know why they waited 37 years. Maybe they forgot about it, or they thought people wasn't going to like it. People weren't going to like it. You like the light beers. Okay. That's the most popular type of beer in America. So, I mean, you got light beer haters out there, man. Their whole life is wrapped around telling people how they shouldn't drink light beer. Like they need your advice, like they didn't ask. They didn't ask for you to tell them what they need to drink, They just drinking it. I was working with somebody today. He's like, when I get home, he's talking about today. He said, when I get home, I'm cracking open that 30-pack of Milwaukee's Best Light. And I'm chilling out watching the basketball game. Now, he's not, like, I'll be, like, soft about it. Like, well, you don't need to tell me. But you're not going to tell him what he needs to drink. He's not going to respond like a mild way, like, well, everybody looks at it differently. You wouldn't like his response if you told him what he needs to drink. Oh, yeah, I had friends that were like, you're trying to get drunk or hydrated. And I'm like, I'm just enjoying a beer, man, whether it's light or not. Right. Okay, so let's finish this up. Proper number 12. Really good stuff. I love the honey flavor. Do the members of your Knights of Columbus still drink Seagram's VO? I remember in an old video you mentioned the guys love that in Crown Royal. I don't see Seagram's VO anymore over there. You know what they've been bringing in? Canadian Mist. Well, that's what they like, but, probably got a deal on it. Oh, and Crown Royal. Yeah, I mean, they never get tired of Crown Royal. Like, I think it's almost like a requirement. You can't join the Knights of Columbus if you don't like Crown Royal. I think that might be a new rule they adopted. But the one they've been putting up there is Canadian Mist. And I see people reaching for that one. They keep reaching for it. I like how somebody told me that stuff's bland. It's a mixer. Like he's telling me something new. I said, you ever looked at the old advertisements and the history of that product? Well, naturally, no, they never did. I said, you realize it was designed to be a mixer when it was introduced in 1967. And if you look at all the old advertisements, it says, this whiskey is a great mixer. It's designed to be a mixer. This is what it's made to be. Like literally, that's what the ads say. So how could you talk bad about a product when it is exactly what it was designed to be. Now, if you don't want to buy a mixer, don't buy it. But that's literally what it was created to be. Why do you think Sazerac bought it back in what, 2016? Or was it 2018? I know they had a round of buyouts. Why do you think they bought it? Because they thought it wasn't going to sell? There's even a Canadian Mist distillery. Like, it's such a big brand that it has its own distillery in Canada, Canadian Mist distillery. So I get a kick out of that when people start ragging on Canadian Mist. I'm like, they keep telling me the same thing. Like, that's a mixer. I'm like, really? They get the handles, you assume correctly. Butch Willie. Yeah, mist is fine. Yeah, it's like if you don't like the taste, don't tell other people not to drink it. They might like it. Oh, but look, they got fanatics out there, like liquor, wine, and beer fanatics. Their whole life goal is to go around telling everybody what they need to drink. They never ask for the advice, nor do they need the advice, but you feel compelled to tell them, don't you? Yeah, it's crazy. And don't say Crown Royal. Don't even mention Crown Royal. They'll run across the room at a wedding reception. Like, you be drinking Crown Royal and talking about, they'll run across the room, across the whole reception hall, and then jump in the conversation like, I hate Crown Royal. I hate it. So, but nobody was talking to you. Yeah, the anti-Crown Royal cult is what it is. Crown Royal doesn't need a cult. It's the number one selling whiskey in the United States. It's not even from the United States. Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah, I know you're joking, but it's really not a joke, because I literally have run into people like that. All right, so I think this is a mild, mellow flavor. It's not the greatest flavor. Like, I don't think Bushmills White Label Original is the greatest thing, but it's very nice. It's well made. Might have something to do with why it's been popular since 1786. And then in some people's minds, if it's popular, that means it's not good. This is how they think. Oh, that's real popular. It's trash. I would never drink that. I'm too good for it. Well, why do you think it's trash? You think the whole world loves it because it's trash? Like, when they sip it, they think, oh, this is terrible. I can't tolerate it. Makes me gag, but I want more. Pretty sure that's not. No, I don't think that's why they're drinking it. But I'm gonna say this is the proper number 12. I got it. I got it. I don't know if y'all heard me, but I said I got it. I think I'm gonna keep winning because I think proper 12 has a unique flavor, and I don't get that. I saw some video. Well, actually, I haven't watched any videos saying it was bad. Every video I watched, everybody was saying, "Oh, this stuff's pretty good." I thought I was gonna hate it. A few people said I thought I was gonna hate it, but they would say, "Oh, it's really good. It's really good." And so it's got that kind of really intense honey flavor, which I like honey. So I think it's going to win, and I think I'm going to keep getting it straight. Now, is it better than the Bushmills? Well, I don't know if it's better. It's just different. It's lighter, it's a lighter body and a lighter flavor, but I can't say it's better. They're just different. So take your pick, Irish Republic, Northern Ireland. You say, blah, blah, I'm all into that. I'm so angry. Some people try to drag me into that. Aren't you mad about Northern Ireland? Aren't you mad about England and Ireland? I said, I don't even care. I don't live there. I'm not part of that. That's not my background. Okay. Don't drag me into that. That's not my issue. I'm indifferent to it. They'll do that in Canada. Like, French people will be like, aren't you angry about France, the French people in Canada? I said, no, I'm not even concerned about the French people in Canada. And they'll say, well, your last name is French. Didn't you say your family came from French Canada? I'm saying that was like in 1778. I don't get hung up on these things. Okay, I'm not obsessed with these historical Footnotes. Okay. Um, Irish whiskey is usually non-peated, says KS. That's correct. Now, are there peated Irish whiskeys? Yes. Are there smoky Irish whiskeys? Yes. Are they common? No. Are they good? I don't know. I've never had them. Would I like to try them? Well, of course I'd like to try them. I mean, why not? Wouldn't hurt anything. All right. Anyway, but of course there's only so much you can try in a lifetime. So I'm going to give a slight advantage to proper number 12, although I can't definitively say it's a better product. So I don't know which one you would prefer to buy. I would suggest buying both. I mean, you could probably buy both bottles. It wouldn't cost you $50 before tax. I mean, it might be 49, but you're getting two full size bottles of really delicious Irish whiskey. Yeah, I can't see a problem with that. Okay, so either way you go, it's a winner. Now, even more exciting news, tomorrow morning, hopefully at dawn, I'm going to bring in another Bushmills. It's going to be the Black Bush. And there's no chance for proper 12. Now, I'm touting proper 12, talking about how good it is. And I'm so glad I bought it and everything. That's true. But proper 12 will never, ever beat Bushmills Black. That's an impossibility. That cannot happen. So if you want to skip that video, I don't take issue with that, because you might say, oh, Bushmills Black's going to obliterate it. I agree with that. Now, the Red Bush that they used to make, I don't think they make it anymore. It was aged in ex-bourbon barrels, or at least finished in those. Kind of had a little bourbon flavor. That's what I call it, Red Bush, because bourbon, the old nickname for bourbon was red liquor. Bourbon looked kind of reddish. So that could be a close one. I think that'll be a challenge, but I don't think I'll get them confused. So I think Proper 12 is going to have some real competition in the next 2 days. Bushmills Black Bush going to be tough. Proper 12 is not going to win. It will not win. And then the Red Bush, that could go either way. That could go either way. All right. Well, y'all take care, and see y'all later. Bye-bye.